Jane Velez-Mitchell, Jane Unchained, here with Fleur Dawes of In Defense of Animals, and she has an incredible surprise for us. Take it away.
Hi, Jane. Thank you so much for having us on the show. I thought I'd bring in Judy, who's been rescued from the dog meat trade. I've had Judy for about 1.5 years, and In Defense of Animals has been working in partnership with Jindo Love Rescue for quite a while, quite a number of years, and we've saved hundreds of dogs so far from the food industry. They're being used for meat, of course. In Korea, things are a little bit different over there. They don't consider dogs really any differently from other animals. That is changing, but you know, we've managed to save 68 dogs from the dog meat trade just this year. But we've been really struggling with the pandemic. All of the flight restrictions. It's been really, really hard for us to get dogs over to the United States. Fortunately, thanks to very generous supporters of ours, we have just managed to get 2 more dogs back to their loving forever homes in Los Angeles just this week. And we are very grateful that they can live their lives in loving homes as they should be.
And these are not those 2 dogs. These are mine. This is my little rescue from Puerto Rico, who I got through All Santos Rescue, Rico. And this is little tiny Dancer, who I got with from the local LA shelter with the help of Shannon Keith and team from Beagle Freedom Project. Look at this, 5 pounds, little tiny Dancer. So obviously the bottom line is adopt, don't shop. There are extraordinary animals in the local shelters who desperately need rescuing right now. However, the situation in South Korea is truly, truly horrific. I want you to see some of these photos of the rescue that you pulled off. So let's go to look at the containers. Okay, here they are, that they get out in these containers through incredible work. Here are 2 of the beauties. Can you tell us their story, these two beauties who are front and center there?
So the brown one is called Dash, and the white one is called Nabi, and they are both Jindo dogs. And in just like Judy, who I showed you just now, and in Korea, Jindo dogs are considered meat dogs. So they are, considered agricultural kind of animals, not like the smaller dogs. Actually are becoming very popular as companions, which is great. Things are changing over in South Korea, but these Jindo dogs, sometimes we save them directly from the dog meat trade. So like Judy here with me was saved from directly from a dog meat farm. Now, Nabi and Jack, I believe, were saved from the shelters. So what happens is they go into these shelters, and dog meat traders come into those shelters, and they pretend to adopt the dogs, and then they actually sell them for meat. So it's sad. It's terribly sad.
Look at this beauty. And what really actually kills me is that they don't lose their ability to love. Look at this before and after. Can you explain this before and after and who this dog is?
Well, I don't want to sound, it was actually quite an honor. This dog was named by the rescuers after me because I played a part in her rescue. So she's called Fleur, and you can see her there. She was on a truck with 28 other dogs bound for slaughter. So Korean partners, Jindo Love Rescue, absolutely amazing team of South Korean people who just really care about the dogs. We work with them. They begged and pleaded with this truck driver. They sped down the road in the middle of the night and begged this truck driver to give up the dogs, called in the local authorities, just did anything that they could to get these dogs. And amazingly, she managed to get those dogs off of that truck. And we received 28 of those dogs. And of course, some of them, yes, they are very traumatized by what they've been through. So like Judy here, went through a process whereby she was trained to adapt to life in a home, because when you've been raised in a cage, from a baby to 6 months old, it's I don't know what these dogs are going through, but it's amazing that they never lose their ability to love humans despite what we've put them through. So
I've got some videos of the incredible work. I can tell you that the amount of work it takes to get a dog out of South Korea is truly mind-boggling. And especially now during COVID-19, it is even monumentally more difficult. Let's take a look at just a sliver, a couple of seconds of what goes on.
So I can give you a bit of explanation of what's happening here. Is these two dogs have just been on a 10-hour flight from South Korea to LA, and then it's a difficult flight for them. They have to be put in these crates for a very long time, but then they're shipped over here. They all make it fine. We line them and make sure they're as comfortable as they possibly can be in these crates, and then they at the other end they get to meet finally their loving guardians, who do an amazing job. We were with the guardians, the new guardians for Jack and Nabi, who you can see on screen here this week, and they are so dedicated to making a difference for these dogs, and they need loving homes. We actually still have many more dogs who are waiting for their loving homes. So if you please do check out Jindo Love Rescues, available for adoption on Facebook. Jindo Love Rescues, available for adoption. You'll see all of the dogs who are still waiting for the special family who will adopt them.
Let's take a look at how quickly they recover. You got some video after they got out of their cages. This is amazing because they've been traumatized. They've been kidnapped. They've been tortured, kept in horrific conditions, and then sort of taken away, rescued, and put on a long flight. And you'd think that a human being would be traumatized and, probably rocking in the fetal position, not dogs. They have an incredible ability to bounce back. Check this out. There you go. They're playing and they're having a good time. That is really, really wonderful. So show me again your dog, because I'm not really understanding this whole concept of the special. Is there a special type of dog they kill? Because these look just like dogs to me that would be walking right down the street in front of me with any number of people walking them, and they're just companion animals. I mean, how can they judge some dogs to be not companion animals and some dogs to be companion animals?
Well, Jane, how can we judge some animals to be food and some animals to be friends? Really, that's what it all comes down to. We know there's no difference between this dog who was raised for food, who is going to be made into a meal for someone, and any other animal who you would share your home with, or indeed any human who you would share your home with. They all deserve their right to live.
I agree, and I have a video to prove that point.
Say, I'm clean. I'm clean. Sleepy eyes. Now it's bedtime. Night night. Night night.
I'm about to join you in there.
So there you go. There's an example of pigs who are not inherently dirty animals, who are actually extremely smart. They're actually smarter than dogs. So while we love in America to point the finger at South Korea for killing millions of dogs, more than 1 million, 2 million, really at a certain point, how can you even count? We're going to quote unquote depopulate up to 10 million pigs by September because COVID-19 has swept through the slaughterhouses. So they can't be killed to be slaughtered for food. They're going to be killed in this horrific depopulation, which DXE, Direct Action Everywhere, has documented. It's one of the most horrific processes. Any news reports that describe it as euthanasia are misreporting the facts. That is truly fake news. What do you say to people who have all this compassion and love, and they think these dogs are so cute, but they can't make that connection to those pigs?
As you said, pigs are just they're just as intelligent, if not more so, than dogs and even than human children. So where we draw the line on which animals we eat and which animals we consider friends is completely arbitrary. It just depends on where you're born. But I'm really happy to say that at least in Korea, people are changing their perception, and they're at least starting to realize that dogs aren't food. And I really hope that opens the door for them to see other animals also as not food. Just like, veganism is on fire in the United States, and it's really catching on around the world. So that's why in Defense of Animals we do work we work for all animals, not just dogs in the dog meat trade. And we also work for pigs and cows and sheep and chickens and fish, who are the world's most abused animals. In fact, on this topic of fish, who are the most abused animals in the world, we are holding a Respect for Fish Day on August 1st. So please do check out our page at In Defense of Animals on Facebook, and you can find out the details on how to get involved in our Respect for Fish Day campaign. No animal deserves to have their life taken from them. No animal deserves to be tortured. No animal deserves to be locked in a cage. The world is coming around to that. But it's down to us, compassionate people. We can do so much more. We have so much more agency than we give ourselves credit for. Every person who you speak to with compassion about animals, it really does make a difference. We've got to bring everybody forwards on their journeys and help make the world a more compassionate place for everyone.
I agree that people are really opening their eyes and their hearts and their minds to plant-based now. And I believe that COVID-19 is also accelerating that trend, because tragically slaughterhouses have become hotbeds of COVID-19. You have tens of thousands of slaughterhouse workers who are almost exclusively the poorest and people of color and immigrants. They're getting sick and they're dying. And so now it's a workers' rights issue as well. And of course, it's an environmental issue because animals eat so much more than they produce. We're literally, most of the food that we're growing, we're feeding to farm animals. More than 70% of all soy produced is fed to farm animals. So that is also contributing to world hunger. So as we expand the number of issues that are impacted by animal agriculture, I think that each new situation is making people wake up. Just the fact that COVID-19 is a zoonotic disease that came from animals to people, and that we could face other pandemics involving pigs. In fact, there's a swine flu virus right now in China, and there's also an avian flu problem. Do you want to address that for a second, Fleur?
Absolutely. Killing animals is killing ourselves, and this pandemic has really brought that into very sharp focus. We've already known for a long time that eating meat, eating the flesh of dead animals, is behind the United States' biggest killers, heart disease and cancer. And now we're seeing that it actually has global health ramifications as well. So we're talking, bird flu, swine flu, Ebola. All of these are coming from us eating animals. So we really have a very, if not now, then when? We are literally killing ourselves by killing animals. So let's wake up, everyone, and put down your burger, put down your hot dog. Let's pick up something that's actually good for you and good for the animals too.
Yes, you've said it very well. And I've got to give a little plug to our latest project, the New Day, New Shape Support and Feed Edition. You just put in support and feed. It's on Amazon Prime, and we're working with Maggie Baird, who, yes, she's Billie Eilish's mother, and she's a vegan. Billie Eilish is a vegan. Her brother Phineas is a vegan, and she came up with this genius concept, and that is we give to support and feed to the vegan restaurants. The vegan restaurants make the food, and then they get to stay in business. And then support and feed takes that vegan food and feeds it to hungry children, to homeless people or houseless people, people in homeless shelters, elderly who are isolated. So there's this whole one of the many false narratives is that animal rights activists don't care about people. And right now we are seeing through the work of Maggie Baird and others that is so not true, Fleur.
Yeah, well, really, the heart of caring for animals and being a vegan comes down to compassion. It's all based on love for animals and love for our fellow human beings. Sometimes it's very easy to let the state of the world get us down. And we feel like progress isn't happening fast enough. We want animals to stop suffering immediately, but we are making a huge difference. And we can't let ourselves be taken to anger or being seen as angry vegans. I know it can be frustrating that the world.
What, me?
It's a love-based movement, and we are based on compassion, and we do run, if anyone is having those strong feelings, we run a support line for animal activists. So please check that out at idausa.org/activist support, and we will help you through that. But I recommend that everyone just stays true to those ideals of compassion for all, and not discriminating against anyone based on any reason. There's no reason to discriminate, just love.
So we are talking about how IDA and working with another organization, I'll let you pronounce that, Fleur, that does incredible work rescuing dogs who would otherwise be tortured and butchered in the dog meat trade in South Korea. Look at these beauties. And they come here on these crates, and they are adopted, and soon enough, they are super happy. One incredible thing about animals is they forgive a lot faster, and they learn to love again a lot quicker. Not to say that many of them are not traumatized, but look at that face, that smiling face. So if people want to help, how do they help, Fleur? How can they get involved? IDA is an incredible organization, and we're so proud to work closely with you guys. Lisa Levinson, you've worked and partnered with us, and we've partnered with you on Boycott Meat, which is a campaign to show solidarity for slaughterhouse workers who are getting sick and dying in these slaughterhouses as a result of COVID-19. And we've worked on many, many other projects. Defend Bayona, defendbayonawetlands.org. How do people help IDA? Because really, it is one of the most effective organizations out there.
Thank you so much for saying so, Jane. We really, really appreciate you saying that. And you can. There are 3 key ways that you can support this particular initiative. I would say if you do happen to be flying between South Korea and the United States, I know that might be somewhat unlikely, but maybe you know somebody who does. We really do rely on flight volunteers. So I dropped some links in on Jane's page earlier. You can see idausa.org/flight volunteer. You can find out how to become a flight volunteer. We've been really suffering without having flight volunteers. We've had to pay a lot of money in cargo fees to get those dogs to the United States. And it's only thanks to the generosity of our supporters who realized that these animals are struggling. They desperately need to get to their loving homes. They've been through hell and back. And any delays means putting their life on hold. So please do, if you can. If you can't volunteer to be a flight volunteer, then please do donate. So that would be idausa.org/fly home. So that's idausa.org/fly home, and that money will go towards all of our wonderful work. But of course, in particular, it will go towards helping get these dogs the specialist cargo flights that they need during this pandemic, and bring them to their happily ever after that they deserve. And the final way that you can support us, of course, I would be really thrilled if everyone watching would download our vegan guide and share it with a friend, share it with an enemy. We all, everyone can do the help. So that's idausa.org/veg guide, and we spent a long time making the best possible vegan starter guide that we could. It's full of recipes, it's full of tips for new vegans, it's full of tips for talking to people about vegan issues, and it's just been flying off the shelves. We haven't been able to print them fast enough, so please do.
Wow, that's wonderful. That is fantastic. Well, listen, you're doing so much. I just want to thank you. I know you're super busy rescuing and putting out petitions and speaking truth to power. IDA, In Defense of Animals, what an incredible organization. I am so honored and humbled to work with you, and you give me hope for this world. Thank you so much, Fleur, and support In Defense of Animals. Let's get all of these dogs out, and let's transform not just the South Korean culture, but the Western American culture into realizing we do not need to kill to survive. That is old thinking. It's got to go away. And we are in a new day, so you can be a new chef.
Right.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.